Hey folks, happy Friday. It is Kurt here with Mañana No Mas, and I'm going to do something a little bit different today. Um, and I'm kind of hoping that I'm on here for a little bit. Oh, look at that. Oh, they stopped doing that. All right, well, let's just remove that channel and let's move that. StreamYard lost something to do with X. So let's go ahead and put this on to. Let's see if we can add LinkedIn. So let's see. And it says we're streaming. So, folks, I've got this going out to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube and you're seeing this live, I'd really like it if you could join me. Tell me where you're from. And this particular live might go a little bit long. We're going to be talking not just about what the gurus say, but we're going to be looking at what they do. And this is kind of a unique framework to talk about things. And I want to be clear before I go into anything. The people that we are going to be looking at today, I consider to be, geniuses. There are people in the WordPress space that are real movers and shakers. There are people that are really putting it forward, adding value, and pushing things through. Just yesterday I was on the WP Tonic show with Kevin Geary. Kevin Geary, to me, is somebody who is a super strong personality, has a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, drops a lot of facts, and he's very clear in his opinions about things, right? So you can get sucked into, that Kevin Geary ego. You can get kind of sucked into that, and then burden yourself with, what are my tasks? What do I have to accomplish? And I'm going to be really transparent with you. Now, for those that have followed Mañana No Mas for any length of time, you've seen multiple iterations of the Mañana No Mas website. I'm one of those people that, as an agency owner, I personally believe, and this is just my own personal belief, I should use some of the tools that I put out for my clients. And so if we jump over to I'll just jump over to a screen share that I've got with the Mañana No Mas website in its current iteration. And in fact, let me give you a better view of this. I'll blow that up a little bit for you. If we go into, which one is it? It's this tab. There we go. What I've done here is I concentrate a lot on membership and learning websites. And so you'll notice that this website has a fair amount of courses on it. So I've got courses that people can take, and the products are great. The course products are phenomenal. I've got this one on putting SCORM in WordPress. I've got one for WordPress Basics. It's a free course. People could take that. I've got another free one called Yes to Kindness. This is based off of Tammy Joy. Tammy Joy does a lot with like anti-suicide messaging and things like that. And so there's things that we have in place here that really help edify our message of being a learning and a membership website provider, right? So that we provide those things. But if we were to go a step further and say, okay, well, what else do we have in here? Well, we've got our Instagram feed, our YouTube feed, our Facebook feed. We've got all this stuff going on here, right? And then the things that we actually sell. So if we go into the easy button, I had personally believed that if I broke down web development for clients in 3 easy steps, easy button 1, easy button 2, easy button 3, that would help us kind of hit the pain points of people that are looking for, like, where does their project fit? So is it just a brochure type website? Is it a learning type website? Or is this an enterprise website, where you want to market, you want to allow other people to market courses through your website? Again, remember, the focus for us is on learning and membership. And so this whole website here is based on the idea of using BuddyBoss and Lifter LMS. And so BuddyBoss is a membership driven site. So if I have a client that says, well, what are we talking about here? And what does that really look like in practice? I would say, hey, my own website is my portfolio. You can go and we'll build you an account. You can see your timeline. You can, see the forums and all of that kind of stuff. So that works really good. But here's the deal. if I go back to this home page, and even my menu says home to, that's because the home page I hated. So I went ahead and made home to. And I thought home to was a little more clear cut. And you'll notice I have a fair amount of stuff in here, right? So I wouldn't even call this a hero image. I would call this more of, call to action area. So I didn't have a hero on this page, right? So a hero image to me is when it goes all the way across the page. So I didn't have the hero image. I just went straight to a call to action, another call to action, right? To book a call. What type of services are fractional, right? Because we do a lot of fractional services for some of our clients, public speaking, course development, all that stuff. I've got a couple of commercials in here. So one is how to take, that expensive score material and put that into WordPress. And then our free course, right? Because we have a lot of clients that are, I want to say worried. Worried's not a good word. We have clients that feel some anxiety when you say, oh no, we can put it in WordPress. They think, oh, well, I don't want to be a webmaster. I just want to run my business. Well, that's why we're a full service agency. We can provide, let's turn that down. We can provide any service on top of the web build. That's not a problem. But I think that customers should know how a website works. So we have a free course on, hey, if you're just getting started in WordPress, this will make you feel more comfortable with it. And then, some of the brands that we've worked with, a couple of testimonials, couple of video testimonials, and then again, really kicking off the idea that we are the experts in putting SCORM into your WordPress website. And then you can sign up for our newsletter. And the newsletter is working because we're growing. Our email list has actually grown in the last fiscal quarter. So I look at that and I go, there's a lot of things working here, but I don't like it. Like I don't like it. So over time, and having worked with WP Tonic and Lifter LMS, I have been introduced to a lot of what I consider the movers and shakers in the industry. And so I started looking at what they were doing. Now, I didn't want you to think that all I do, is this Mañana No Mas site. For instance, if we take a look at the Kurt Von Ahnen website, it's just a personal page. It's really what drives my personal speaking events. But, obviously in this one, I went for the giant hero image. When I made this website a year and a half ago or so, AI was, really big. So I put a lot of different AI images into it. I put a couple of videos in. Here's another AI image that I really enjoy. We do have a course in here, right? So again, I put in another learning element. This one's how to grow your LinkedIn connections. And again, personally, I'm pretty strong on LinkedIn. So I've got a LinkedIn course. It's connected to my personal page, kind of a timeline to show people the longevity that I've got in the industry. And then I really kind of blew out this AI theme throughout the rest of the site. And this page, I think, is more visually engaging than the Mañana No Mas site, but its purpose is completely different than the Mañana No Mas site. Power Sport Academy is another one of the Mañana No Mas projects. This one does training specifically for the motorcycle industry. And this one, again, I went pretty simple on this. Hero image, a couple of sections, 3 options for training, and join the newsletter. Real simple, okay? And you'll notice I used a couple of bright colors here. SCORMpress, this website I just put out last week. This is my first website that I've built in bricks. It's a really simple one-page website. And it just has, it's got a hero image, some AI stuff in the background. I wanted it to feel kind of techy because it was dealing with SCORM and moving SCORM to WordPress. Again, grow the mail list, right? Broke it off into sections with some bright color, some AI, and the ability to ask a question and get into our funnel. That's a pretty straightforward one. And then the last one I'm going to show you that's in our wheelhouse is, I just realized something. I didn't do that, did I? I'm still on this tab. I'm sorry, folks. Here's the Power Sport Academy. Okay. And that's the one I was talking about with the 3 options for training at the bottom, right? Bright colors. Here's the SCORMpress one. I keep forgetting to hit the button that says share this tab instead. Here's the SCORMpress site. So SCORMpress, bright colors, broken into sections, really easy to navigate, simple in its communication. And then here is Action Leadership from the Edge. This one, again, and this goes back 3 years ago. I like the bright color. I like the orange color. So I went with that. I went with more of a scrolling background image. You see what we did there. We still input a video, so it's real life as well. Then we go into our courses because it's a learning site. This is to promote a book that I had written. And then we go off into a couple more sections. And my preference when I do a lot of these sections is to stagger things. So you'll see me go like text and image, image and text, text and image. I don't know why I'm so driven by that, but a lot of my projects end up getting built that way. Why Choose Us, bullets, and a couple of testimonials. All right. And again, grow the mail list. So I'm going to go back to our main screen page here. So where I'm driving at here is I don't want to start this whole conversation out and say, oh, I just have the Mañana No Mas site and I'm stuck in a rut. I think what I've just demonstrated is I'm absolutely not stuck in a rut. You know, in my own personal portfolio, you know, I've got a one-page, you know, simple lead magnet site. I've got the Mañana No Mas site, which drives e-commerce and membership. I've got the Kurt Von Ahnen site that really leverages some AI imagery and again grows the email list and is more focused on like booking events, right? So we've got that one. And then of course the Power Sport Academy, that is an industry training membership website. So out of all of the sites that I just showed you, the Power Sport Academy is the one that is most like what I would build for a customer. So a lot of customers that come to Mañana No Mas, they need some type of training for their organization, for their company, for something, right? And so we have to figure out, well, is it a membership site or is it a learning site? Or like in the case of Mañana No Mas, would you build it as a membership and learning website? Okay. Now, let me just be a little more clear about why I'm not happy with the Mañana No Mas website. Again, I have changed the Mañana No Mas website 6 times, 8 times. I don't know, maybe more than I can count. For a long time, it looked like a newspaper. And I really liked this version of the website, but it didn't generate any sales at all. So that's the other side of the coin. Just because you like something, just because you like the design of something, doesn't mean it's going to accomplish the goal that you're trying to attain. So I used to love the Mañana No Mas website. I love the look of it. It had logos across the top, staggered in different sizes. But it was symmetrical, big on symmetry. It looked good. It was red, white, and gray, and it had, you know, kind of not a hero image. It had like a split hero image where it had a big article and then a title and a summary. And then beneath that, it had a ton of blog material. You know, you can call them articles, you can call them posts, you can call them whatever makes you feel good on the inside, but they were blog posts, right? So it had tons of blog posts and they were all broken down by category. And then like a newspaper, this thing had columns that split everything up by category. And then it had a full directory of posts in the right side sidebar. And the way that all the graphics came together, I thought appearance-wise, it was very striking. And tons of content. And at the time, I thought tons of content had value. At the time, I thought, you know, the more I splash on this page, you know, the more I'm going to rope people in. And I like that website so much that I ran that site for years. And I'll be honest with you, I can't track a single lead that created income to that website. During that time, all of my leads came from referrals and word of mouth and direct meetings with people. Nothing came from the website. Whereas now I am seeing leads come through the website but my mail list is much bigger too. So I can't be totally sure what's happening there, but the website now that I don't like is creating traffic. The website I don't like now is creating leads. People join the subscribe link. People do message me through the website, which wasn't happening when it looked like a newspaper site. A couple of other things. I've gone through a few iterations. You might remember I did a thing with Maxi Blocks, and I want to say that was a year and a half, 2 years ago. Did a thing with Maxi Blocks. That's a theme and let's just call them a block library, right? When you're building websites. And we ran that for a while, but I had a couple of people look at it and they said, from an accessibility standpoint, you're going to get downgraded because your text is going over images and people won't be able to read it. People that have vision problems won't be able to actually read the content that's on the website. And so as cool as it looked, as awesome as I thought it was, I got focused on that. And I said, no, that's a problem. Like I got to fix that. So if you went to Mañana No Mas now, you'll notice that all of the text is very clear, very concise, and has a, has a good contrast against whatever background it's on, because I want the site to be fully accessible. And from an accessibility standpoint, I got really more strict on, alt text for images and all those kinds of things too. All those best practices, all those things happened. So let's jump into some other stuff. I mentioned Kevin Geary already. Some of you might have heard the word Poodle Press before. Poodle Press, Jamie Marsland, I think is his name. I think Jamie is brilliant. He was on the WP Tonic show as well with us once. And that was a weird show because I could tell that him and Jonathan kind of did this on a topic dealing about the Gutenberg editor and stuff. But what's interesting, and the reason I want to show you these, is Kevin's out on the block editor. He's like, I don't like what Gutenberg is. I don't like what WordPress is doing. I'm in on Bricks. He was an Oxygen guy, I believe, and then now he's in on Bricks. Jamie's like, I can do anything with WordPress. Just watch me work. The next person that we're going to talk about will be Adam. I always screw up his last name. It's Preisler or Preisler. I'm not sure how he says it, but he's with WP Crafter, and he is probably one of the most influential people that really got me involved in community and stuff in the WordPress space. So I think that is that's noteworthy for one. And he's involved in a ton of things. Like he was in with the Astra people. He was in with the Cadence people. He does Presto Player, SureCart. I think he's Sure Members and Sure Triggers. I guess Sure is his word. So he has product. He and obviously puts out content. So he's worth taking a look at. The other one is WP Tuts. I want to take a look at WP Tuts. And the last one that I think that we'll talk about today is my newest friend in the biz, Mark Szymanski. Mark goes live. It seems like he's live all day, every day. I mean, I see this guy. I get notifications on X about Mark's activities all the time. So if you're in this space and you're like, how does Kurt know these people? I know them because I watch them. I make the investment. I figure out what they're talking about. I try to learn from them because they're all smart. So I try to learn from them, and then I reach out to them, and I get to know them through the WordPress environments too, right? So WordPress and podcasts and that community aspect of the industry, it's there for everybody. So when you hear like this group is disadvantaged or this group feels estranged or this group, I'm going to tell you right now, I met Kevin, I met Jamie, I've met Adam, I've met Mark. WP Tuts, I don't think I've met yet. There's no price of admission. There's no you don't look right, you don't feel right, you don't talk right. There's none of that. Get involved in the community, and you'll find that the more that you put forward, the less obstacles you're going to find. People are going to want to talk to you. Okay, so just get out there. Just get out there. That's my main message on that one, and I'm going to drop it because I certainly don't want to have my lives or my videos get cut off because I said something someone didn't like. But literally, no price of admission in getting to know these folks, follow these folks, learn from these folks, and even connect with these folks. Get involved in podcasting, be a guest on something, add value, develop a product, or just talk about how you're growing your own agency. And you'll see that people will begin to come. People will begin to flock in. Now, I'm going to do another screen share here with you. And yeah, we're still showing that other site. So let's go over to share this tab. And I want to make sure that we get there. Now, this is, and in fact, here's what I'm going to do too. Let's take this branding off the screen. Okay. You guys all know who I am by now. So we can take the branding off the screen. I just want to focus, and I'm going to do one better. Let's just focus on these sites. Kevin Geary is genius level, right? With all the things that he's doing. So he has an agency, Digital Gravy. So he's got an agency. He's got product, automatic CSS, frames is a thing that he's going live on. I think he went live with it yesterday. He's going live today with that. He's a content creator and all that stuff. He's a huge YouTube channel. All of that's going well. But here's what I wanted to focus on. Kevin's one of these people that's like, you can't just build that with blocks. You need to have bricks. You need to have different page builder tools, different skill sets that you bring to the table. Now, there might be stuff running in the back end of this site that you don't see with the naked eye, but let's just take a look at the site. Okay. So what we see here is very monochromatic, not a lot of splash of color. So for some people you go, well, wait a minute, that's counter to everything that I thought I had to do. Let's just take a look at the site itself. Okay. So we've got, if we were to consider this upper part here, the header, right? So we've got branding, right? We've got branding, we've got navigation, and then we come down and we've got a call to action area, call to action hero area. This is going from, from right to left, left to right, all the way across the screen. Good imagery, good headshots. I talk about this with my clients all the time. They'll say, well, how come my website doesn't look like the sample website? And it's like real simple. How come your images have no quality compared to the stock photo imagery? Like, you have to provide assets that match the level that you're trying to get to. So his imagery is great. His use of color is very striking, right? So it's monochromatic as far as the background goes, but take a look at his good use of color. He picked a color and he stuck with the color. And then we go through, that color is themed throughout, right? So we're good there. So now we have another section, and I would probably call this another call to action area, because he's given you something to mull around about. And then he gives you a title, a text, and a button, call to action. Then we come down here, what I'm up to here, we've got another section, and look at this. We've got image, title, text, call to action. And then what do we have here? Image, title, text, call to action. And then we have image, title, text, call to action. Now, what do you notice here that I just mentioned on my own projects? Someone else seems to be hooked on staggering, right? So this one goes image, text, text, image, text, text, image. So I know I'm not wrong on the staggering idea. Remember, this whole live, and I warned you ahead of time, this live is going to be a little bit longer. This live is, let's look at what these guys do, not what they talk about. Okay. So do I need bricks to build this website? No, we could build something like this in blocks right out of the chute, right? So again, there might be some magic in the background, but from an appearance standpoint, there's not too much special. So we've got headings, links to blogs and articles, right? So this will be like an archive section. And then we have another one of these, I call them call to actions, right? So we've got the video with information, title, text, button. So he's got a duplicated format that he brought from this section down to this section. Then he's got the inner circle. This is where he talks about his community, right? And again, this is large, but image, title, text, button, right? Call to action button. Grow that mail list, give away that free course as a lead magnet. And he's got an interesting way of, if you take a look at, if this whole bottom part here was the footer, This is a very tall footer broken into different containers. Okay. And so I got to be careful how I phrase things, because I'm saying section, container, and block, and people watching this might not fully understand what I'm saying. And worse, I'm seeing the page from the front end. I might actually be wrong. Maybe for a section, because I was calling them sections, maybe his section is, from here, all the way down, and then he's got containers within that. It's hard to say, but looking at how this is built, this is, row over row over row over row over row, just like any other website. So monochromatic with a sharp contrasting color for highlights and for all of the call to action areas. So that's what we're seeing, right? Let's take a look at Poodle Press with Jamie. And I'm going to go ahead and put myself back on the screen here. This one's completely different. Now, we just saw what I consider a medium homepage with Kevin. Now here we are with Jamie. Jamie has an extremely short homepage. That's it. That's all you get. Okay. Contrast that with what I did on Mañana No Mas. On Mañana No Mas, I feel like I almost have the Kevin formula, right? Where I have all of these rows and calls to action. Now, if we think about what we just saw on Kevin's page, he's got calls to action that lead to 4 or 5 different things. And we've been told by business gurus everywhere building on websites that, you shouldn't have more than one, and certainly not more than 2 separate calls to action on a page, because you don't want to split the viewer's attention too far. And that's always been a point of conflict or a point of concern for certain clients and businesses, because they're like, I want this to be like the directory page that leads to all these other projects. And, I think when we take a look at Kevin's page, that's definitely kind of that modus operandi there. That's the, hey, this is the, pardon me, this is my site that leads to my 5 or 6 different projects. So don't be afraid to really embrace what your messaging is, as long as you are strong with your messaging and can make that happen. Now, when we go over to Poodle Press, he also has products and courses and a YouTube channel, lots of content and lots of blog content. So, but look at his homepage. I mean, this is it. You get a hero image. Again, look at the quality of the headshot. That's really, really good, right? So quality of the image. He's doing that black background, very similar to Kevin's, okay? But his color, he's definitely got a lot of color here. If this was Kevin's page, this whole thing would be black and gray, but it's not black and gray, right? Now we've got a big splash of color, and you'll see the logo and the color at the bottom match. So I'd see a lot of people that don't match their colors. They come close, but they don't match. And that difference in shade can really draw attention to people in a bad way. So again, really short. And if we go into take a look at some of his pages, now you're going to see, Gutenberg Pro. So image, title, text, call to action, image, title, text, call to action, image, title, text, call to action. And I'm going through this, but you'll notice he's not staggering. He is stacking, right? So stacking meaning that everything's in one column. So all the title and text is in one column, and all of the images are in one column. Then we go into testimonials and right back down to that footer again. Okay. So not a lot of content here. I think this is important to hit on, because this is something that I see clients talking to me. They'll say, no, I need to have this. I need to have this. I need to have this. We got to include this. Where are we going to put that? And it's like, stop, especially for the homepage. Look at how simple Jamie's homepage is just in comparison to his plugins page, right? He's got super simple messaging on the front. If people want more information, they're going to dive in. Now, if we go into Jamie's courses, we're going to see that his courses are stacked the same way that his plugins are. So there's consistency in the way that he has developed the way things look throughout the website. Whereas, admittedly, when you go to the Mañana No Mas site, you're going to feel a little bit of a disconnect. And I think that's because I've developed the site for this theme, and then I've developed the site for that theme, and I've developed for that. And then as I've switched themes and switched things out, I've kind of got this muddied formatting issue. And so that's why I'm going, okay, I probably got to redo this thing. And when I say redo it, I probably need to redo it from scratch instead of trying to patch things up all the time. Let's take a look at his about page. Again, very simple, right? So it's got more content on it. It gives you more details. It links out to other properties. So he's got that outbound link thing going on with SEO. Good split, good use of titles, headings, right? So SEO will see those and say, okay, that makes sense. And it'll help index that page better. Blog, the blog is stacked just like the plugins and the courses. So again, super consistent. I do notice that stacking the blog content, he's using a separator between each one, and he didn't use a separator on the other pages. But neither here nor there, that gives you an idea of what this person is doing. So if you watch their YouTube channel, they're going to be building all kinds of crazy stuff, right? But then when you take a look at their own website is very simple. And so take a look at Adam's. Here's Adam with WP Crafter. He's got a higher use of color and more white space. So again, good headshot. And what are you noticing about these three experts so far with headshots? They're not AI. So that's one, right? So the Kurt Von Ahnen page is mostly AI. So I probably need to take a look at that, right? AI was cool 2 years ago, probably not so cool today. So pardon me. So if we're going to put these guys on the pedestal and say, these are the experts, Kevin had a no background headshot image. Jamie had a no background headshot image. And now we see Adam with a no background headshot image. All three images, quality images, done well on a simple background. Okay. And so something I want to point out. Now, Adam uses a different strategy with color. He's got a lot of color going on. So obviously yellow and green are his things. So he's got yellow and green going on, yellow and green going on. And he has also built a very simple website on, when I say simple, I'm talking about appearance. Again, I have no idea of what's going on in the background of this thing, but simple in appearance. So we have a hero image all the way across the page. We do have a couple of calls to action right here, right? Meant to kind of lure the customer in. Then we see right here, welcome. If you haven't already, please click a share button, right? So he's generating that more interest, right? Get people to share. And we call this above the fold. So anything before I scroll down is above the fold. And so we can see what Adam's focusing on here, right? He's like, do you want non-techie training? Go take my training classes. Do you want to do stuff without code? Click this button. And do you want to get help? Do you want a consultation? Do you want to buy my time? I'm here to help. Okay. And then share us. Help grow that mail list. So if someone shares Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, and then those new people come to this page, there is hope that they will strike down through the page and do one of these, pick a product or go to the latest tutorials. What I'm really surprised that I don't see on Adam's own homepage is a form. There's no subscribe form. There's no grow the mail list form from this page. Let's take a look at, let's see, it does blogs, reviews, hosting. So it says start here, start a website in 10 minutes, online course, sales funnel website, business website. Then we have the blog. Here we go. Here's our mail list capture, right? Looking for more in-depth training. Look here, and then we go into the blogs. And look how consistent he is with the branding and the use of color throughout, because newsflash, sticking with this and coming up with consistent featured images for everything, that's a task in itself. Okay, that can be a chore in its own. And so he's made the commitment to the colors, and we see that working with the homepage images, the YouTube thumbnails, and now we see it on the colors as well. So kudos to him. Very consistent, very consistent. But again, I want to focus on simple. These are all simple things. And again, if you are seeing this live and you have any comments or you know any of these people, just join me. We'll have a conversation here real quick. The next one I want to go to is WP Tuts. WP Tuts. If you have seen any of his videos on YouTube, genius level dude, critiquing different elements of, let me move that around. There we go. Critiquing different elements of WordPress, being really involved in the community. He's from the UK. So maybe that's why he's brought to my attention, because I work with Jonathan so much at WP Tonic. But this website is a little bit different to me. So I wanted to kind of pull this out and kind of show it to you what we got going on. So lots of use of color, right? So in this one, we've got, confession, I'm part colorblind. I don't know if this is orange or red. So I'm going to call it red. So we've got purples, lavenders, red, yellow, orange. Okay, so we see what's going on there. And then his thumbnails, there is a lack of consistency, like if we think about what we looked at with Adams. So it does say Sharon Good. So, red, yellow, orange. So there's a lot of color going on here. But if we go back and take a look at this headshot again, same, very consistent. So now we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 experts so far. 4, that's how you make a 4. We saw 4 experts so far, and similarities. Like, so what are the experts doing and what's generating their results, right? So take a look at how they're displaying themselves on their page, not using AI, cutting the background and then putting it over whatever the background is. And apparently doesn't matter if you have a black background or a purple background. Okay. But pick your colors and then stick to them and be consistent in the design elements. And so latest videos we go into, and you'll notice, looky here what he's done. I'm sorry. Rows. So we have a hero image at the top with a call to action. And then we have another row, and he's got it split into 2 columns, right? So we have a row with 2 columns. So that's meant to get the viewer to focus on these 2 because they're bigger, right? They're the latest. They're the top of the funnel. And then his next row goes into 3. So you can see, either he's running out of space and he doesn't want the page to go on forever with large thumbnails, or he's like, hey, let's condense this and bring this in. So he's got these 3. And then if we go to the next page, it does the same thing. Okay. So the idea here, and I want to be, again, I don't know how he built the page per se, but if we go into looking at how this is all put together, we are on page 3 right now, and we got here from the home page. So do you see something completely different that WP Tuts is doing with his website versus the first 3? If you think about it, this is an archive. It's kind of like a blog, right? So you could say these are like blog posts, and he's just putting the videos in where the blog posts are. Okay, you could say that, or you could say this is an archive of videos, and he's got a custom post type for videos. You could say that too. Either way, I don't care how you say it. But he's got an archive that works like a blog that goes directly from the homepage. All of the other experts we saw so far had like a static homepage. And then if you wanted to get into the archive areas, you had to click in the main navigational menu to get to those archive areas. So this is unique. WP Tuts is definitely focused on the video. And then if we take a look, he's got Essential Web Designers documents. This would be his lead magnet, right? This is another row, another call to action. Buy now for immediate download. Featured tutorials. And so we have one section that's videos, and then we have one section that is tutorials. And those are featured tutorials. And so obviously that's probably where he is trying to focus. If we take a look at the top of his menu, we've got a giant, what did he call that? He had a tutorial on YouTube where he said building a maxi menu, I think is what he called this. So he actually has a tutorial on how to build this breakout menu. And so on the screen share, I hope it's coming up for you right now. But when you hover over tutorials, on WP Tut's website, you get this giant black, pop up, pop down, drop down menu. So, and again, I saw a tutorial that he did for that on YouTube. The next and final one we're going to talk about is Mark Zemansky. Mark Zemansky, he's younger, he's full of energy, he's live all the time. So if you don't follow Mark on X, for example, I follow him on X and I get a notification from X. So I get notifications on X all the time about Mark Zemansky. He seems to always be doing something. He's got a great attitude, super bright. I think he's got a big future if he keeps putting in the effort. Now, his website, I don't want to say it looks like the Mañana No Mas website, but a lot of the colorations and the format seems to be very similar. So, but it's got some things. So right away, we see that he's very pro accessibility. He's got the accessibility icon here. Choose the right accessibility profile for you. So he's got an accessibility tool right on the homepage of the site. That's great to see. That is awesome to see. He's also got a chat box going here. Question about your next website, chat with us. And so we could open up a chat and we could bother him right now if we wanted to. So whether we get him a chat bot or someone on a staff, we've got a way to communicate with people at his agency right away. And then let's just take a look at the structure of the site. The structure of the site looks like we have a hero area that's focused on simply a title with a call to action. And then we have a row that is picture, title, text. And then we have our services, just breaks it out. This looks very similar to the services area on the Mañana No Mas page, right? Though just the simple way that he has been able to build that out. Look at the simple icons, good use of consistent color. So he's using different shades of gray to isolate the different rows. And then he's bringing everything together with this popping blue color, okay? And then what are our clients saying? So we've got a carousel of Google reviews. Awesome, right? And let's talk about your website. Call to action, start here. I imagine start here is more than likely going to open up. Well, let's just see. It's probably going to go to a form. Yep. So you put in the form and that'll get you started in the funnel, right? And so that's going to be how that works. Now for services, we can break that out a little bit further and we'll see that custom WordPress design. Here we go. And what I really want to focus on here is, let me go back to here and let's remove that. The message that I'm focusing on by looking at these people, again, I want to stress this. I have an amazing amount of respect for the 5 people that we just looked at. We looked at Kevin, Jamie, Adam, WP Tuts. I really got to learn that guy's name. I can't call him WP Tuts for the rest of his life. And Mark, right? So we got 5 people that we just looked at. And we've been doing this for a long time. We're at 42 minutes. I know this is longer than most of our lives, but I thought there was value in this. These experts have tutorials all over YouTube and all over the internet about building intricate, complex, custom WordPress environments for customers, clients, and they show other people how to do it. And then kind of my messaging for this, for today was, well, what do they need? Okay. How are they driving business through their online property? Right. So what are they up to? And if I were to, let's see if we can do this again. Share screen. And we want to go to window, entire screen, window, remarkable, share. That is not the one that I want. Let's see if we can do it this way. Oh. All right, we're going to do stop sharing, present, share screen. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time finding this. Window. Shows it there. Doesn't show it there. If I open this, let's see if we can get this to pull up. No. I got this to work the other day. That is frustrating. Let's try, that's up. Let me make sure it's still on share. No, it's still on share. Share screen. One more time, folks, and then I'll give up. Oh, I think I remember how I did this now. Okay. I'm going to move you guys over to this screen, and I'm going to move this screen over here. That's probably what happened. Yep. And so now if I go back to here and say present, share screen, entire screen, share. There it is. Look at that. All I had to do was move you guys around, having two screens. Okay, so if we close our options over there, think about this. Let's say that this whole white thing is the website. So if we go across the top here, right? This is the hero area. All right, so hero area. Okay, and then think about what the majority of our experts did. The majority of our experts, they had a headshot of some kind. I'm drawing like a mouse. That wasn't a mouse. There we go. Whiskers. Ears. I don't know. I'm going kind of crazy. That's really horrible. Let's just take that off of there. Okay. I just like drawing. So anyway, we have a hero image, and let's just do it this way. Right? And they had a headshot and then some kind of call to action button. Okay, so they had hero, headshot, button, and then they really just had a row. So what was in the row? Something that was, the ones, if you think about it, if you just do a simple area that has a heading and then some kind of phrase underneath it that calls attention, that works with maybe another button. And that could be join our community. That could be anything. So, but simple is what I'm going for. And then a lot of them had, something that broke the page in half, came across. Now, this could be video and video. It could be picture and text. It could be picture in picture. But if we're just thinking in simple formats, and then some kind of CTA, and this could be a button, it could be a web form, it could be whatever you want to call that, okay? And I'm just showing you, maybe if I write the word button first and draw a box around it, it'll come up better. There we go. CTA button and subscribe, because I want to grow my mail list whenever possible. I want people to be able to subscribe if they want to, and footer. And these footer areas, they get ignored a lot. Okay, so think about all the stuff that can go into a footer. If we were to slide this up a little bit, in the footer, you have more menu links. You can go deeper with your menu links. You can pull up special pages, special blogs, all that kind of stuff. You can do outbound links, right? You can do that. You're going to have more branding, right? So more logo, more branding. Okay. And then you're going to have, if you're a physical location, you're going to have your address, maybe a map connection. Okay. I like maps. And you're going to be able to put stuff in there. So your footer should not necessarily be a duplication of the information in your header. The footer, and let's close this down. Screen share is no longer available. And let's bring you guys back to the front here instead of on that screen off on the side. And so I think what I'm driving at here, and something that I'm going to experiment with the Mañana No Mas site, is simplicity. I talk about minimal viable products and salesmanship and simplicity a lot. How do you take 15, 16 years of agency work with all these different case studies and successes and tools and all these things, and then have a plain homepage, right? It's counterintuitive, super counterintuitive. I can still have that information in my website, but I want to be able to filter that information to people that want that information instead of overwhelming people with too much dribble on my site. When we take a look at the pros, again, when we look at that list of 5 experts, none of them really had a ton of stuff on their homepage. And I'm going to be going back to this other messaging that I have. If you use Bricks, great. If you use Divi, great. If you use Elementor, great. If you're in the block editor from WordPress, great. When I interviewed Kevin yesterday with WP Tonic, we had a quick conversation about use case. And, I started out this live almost an hour ago with use case. That's why I showed you the different properties of Mañana No Mas. I wanted to say, hey, this is the Mañana No Mas website, but it's not fully indicative of Mañana No Mas's skill set. We've written books, we have courses, we work with AI, there's all these things. And so when you take a look at the portfolio, you go, oh, he does make things that do look different, that do function different. And that's because the use case for each of those properties is wildly different. But if we're looking at websites from a design perspective, people that are respected in the design world, and then we go to their websites and we see, well, what are they using for themselves? We have to ask ourselves, and just being honest, just being honest, do I need to become an expert and learn special tools and CSS code to build what I am seeing here? And I think the short answer is no. I think there's a lot in the background. I think tying in your CRM, your automations, your e-commerce, your products, your, those call to actions, like those call to action buttons do something, right? So what do they do? I think there's a lot in the background, but that's not what this live was about. This live was about what imagery, what format of a website has the best ability to create conversion. What website has the chops to communicate to customers cleanly and concisely? And I'm not even going to say cleanly and concisely was the goal when we started this, was it? It was simply, let's see what the experts are doing. Let's forget what they say. Let's forget what the experts say they're doing, and let's look at what they are doing. And when we took a look at what they are doing, that's when we saw clean, concise, good imagery, good choice of consistent colors. Whatever those colors are, good choice of consistent colors and use of consistent colors. I say this a lot with like the John Maxwell team, Tony Robbins, Dean Grazioso, the Russell Brunson, Pedro Adeo. There's their messaging, okay? And I'll say, let's forget about what they say. Forget about what they're trying to coach you to do, and look at what they are doing. Look at what they are doing. What do their sales funnels look like? What does their Facebook ad look like? Again, forget about what they're trying to teach you to do. Look at what they are doing. And when we take a look at what they are doing, then we ask ourselves, do I want to behave in that way? Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. But do I want to behave in that way to emulate those types of results? Or do I just want to glean a couple of gold nuggets out of this where I think I could ethically put this into place and see some growth? And that to me is a really good skill set to try to grow. So I see these guys. They're influencers in the WordPress space. They're all geniuses. I see the content they put up. I take in a lot of it. I learn a lot from it. Like I said, I just put up my first my first Bricks website last week. That was that ScormPress one. Side note, the load time, all these sites are on the same server for me. I'm using the same server for all these sites. That ScormPress website comes up quick compared to the rest of them. And it's the only one built on Bricks. And so, and I've got a couple Elementor projects and I've got some other projects. And for customers and clients, I have a couple that are on Divi. I have a couple that are on Elementor. I have a lot that are in Bricks. I have some that are in full site editing with the newer stuff, the 2024 theme, or with SkyPilot from Lifter LMS. And so those are full site editing websites. And when I think about all those different tools, at the end of the day, can I build what we just drew on my tablet? Can I put up a hero image, a call to action, a split column, and another call to action or a subscribe to my newsletter list? Can I do that? Can I build a good header, a good hero format, whatever that is? We saw, I think it was Mark's page didn't have an image. Mark's page had a big title as the hero area. But all the other ones had a title, some text, a call to action button, and a well done headshot. And that's all above the fold. So that's probably a pretty dang good recipe, right? So can I build that in WordPress blocks? Yes. Could I have more control over color, shading, background, spacing? Spacing's a big deal. Could I add more spacing easier with some tools like Bricks or Elementor? It might be more quickly done for you, but do you need it? No, I don't think you do. I think what we saw today, any of those sites that we saw today, any of mine and any of the ones that we just reviewed, could we build something very similar in the block editor in WordPress? Absolutely. I think we can. So then that next question is, what do these websites do in the background? And that's where, like I said, how does it connect to your CRM tool? How does it automate with your e-commerce tools, things like that? What's your marketing and communication plan with your customers? But let's be real. When we take a look at those 5 people that I brought as outsiders to this conversation, unknowingly to them, so who knows if I'm going to get beat up after this, but unknowingly to them, I was like, let's take a look at their websites. Let's take a look at what they're doing. And, some people might say I'm crazy because I run my own agency and I might be driving traffic to my competitors. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter. We're not stealing anybody's piece of the pie here. We're just baking more pie. We're just baking more pie. Again, I take a look at those guys because those to me are the movers and shakers right now in the WordPress space. And so I was like, let's just share with the people what they're doing. What are they doing for themselves? Not what are they saying, not what are they teaching, but what are they doing? And I wanted to show, this is how they represent their business. This is what their websites look like. And so from what we just saw with those 5 examples, I've now got it in my head that I can really simplify what I had in mind for redesigning the Mañana No Mas site. Because I'll be honest with you, my last thought about the Mañana No Mas site moving forward, I was thinking about doing one of those long form pages that just goes, above the fold, call to action, about us, about services, boom, and then have the navigation at the top that scrolls the page and then back to the top from the bottom. Started at the bottom, now we're here. Started at the bottom, now we're here. So I was thinking about that. But when we look at what the 5 experts did, they didn't do that, did they? They had a very simple, well-communicated, find more information on the inside message. And I think that's something for all of us to learn from. So like I said, I'm similar to that now with what I have now, but right now I'm using Buddy Boss on my website because I wanted to show people that, we do membership sites, we do learning sites, we have these tools, we use them ourselves. I think that's important. I think that's important as an agency to say, we use these tools ourselves. Just take a look, But for the purpose of running a web agency, I don't think that the Buddy Boss tool is fitting well with my company messaging. And I say that because am I really growing a community in there? Do I have a bunch of people coming in to talk about WordPress and stuff inside the website? Part of me thought it would be cool if that happened. And when I converted to Buddy Boss, that's when everybody was like, I'm getting off of Twitter because now it's going to be called X and I'm going to get off Twitter. And I thought, well, what if I build these channels and people use it? Well, I built the channels and nobody used it. So now I think to myself, as a website refresh, maybe I just simplify. Something clean, something bright, leads to more information, but isn't overwhelming on the homepage. I got my homework set out for me. Folks, I didn't see any comments come through today, and that's okay. That's totally okay. I think it is important that we take these moments sometimes and we just talk it out. We just communicate to folks. I wanted people to kind of see the decision-making process that I might go through considering my own branding and building. Not for nothing, there's hundreds of blog posts in the Mañana No Mas site. There are, I can't remember, 16 or 18 different courses. There's 6 or 7 different levels of membership. There are hidden memberships that you don't see in the back end of that website. There are the ability to buy hosting, the ability to reserve your URL, the ability to buy pre-templated formatted websites. I mean, there is a ton of stuff in that Mañana No Mas property. And so making it so that people can find that when they want it is awesome, but you don't want to throw up on them and vomit all over them on the homepage. So the communication on the homepage has to be a good enough hook to pull them in without making the homepage look sickening. And so that's the challenge. And I know that's a challenge for a lot of businesses, but that's why having a professional help you develop your website can be really key to its success. A lot of people have a nephew that builds websites that's, a freshman in college, and he's going to help you. That's awesome. That's awesome if you've got that kind of help. But sometimes it's more of a hurt than a help, because realistically, does that person have 25, 30 years of business communication and marketing experience and web development chops to get you where you need to be, and to know what not to put on the homepage? Those are some of the biggest questions. And AI is not your answer in that field yet. I just had this conversation with my wife the other night. A lot of people think AI is instant and magic. Like, hey, make me a website and focus on the top 5 elements of my business and blah, 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 blah. And half an hour later, they've got a website. That might be the future, but that ain't now. Right now, you still need an expert. You still need somebody to come alongside of you, even if it's just the 4 eyes mentality, to look at what you started putting together and go, does this make sense? Newsflash, when I redo the Mañana No Mas website, you're not going to be the first one to see it. That's not going to happen. I'm going to go through a network of trusted peers, and I'm going to say, can you take a quick look at this? Do you think this is right? Or do you think, what are your thoughts? And then publish and go forward. I think it's important that we understand the difference between getting something done and getting something done by a professional. And with that, I think I'm going to go. You know what? I didn't even start this video out with my normal intro or anything, did I? Let's put the brand overlay back in place, and let's hit you guys with the thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.